So I was at a New Seasons here in North Portland, and I'm walking, and there's someone there, and I just say, "Excuse me." Sometimes I say that if someone is a foot away, they're coming right at me and I'm walking, I don't skip in front of people. It would just like you would normally do, go, "Excuse me." There's a lot of that in small grocery stores in Portland where there's a lot of people shopping at once. "Excuse me, sorry, pardon me." "Excuse me, pardon me, sorry." It's just a natural way of communicating. And what the woman said was, "Gotcha." Like, real gotcha. Like, go ahead, you piece of shit. Then I walked around the corner and came back for a minute after about like 20 seconds of pondering. She's still looking at the sodas, and I said, in a very quiet voice, almost kind of shaking, I just want to say that I felt that was kind of rude. And I have never, hardly ever, said anything like that in my life. Where I've come back, especially to a woman, because we're taught to be afraid as men today in the society, and not to offend a woman, and not to look eyes in the eyes of some women. Otherwise, we might make them afraid, especially if they have eyes like mine that aren't like most people's, that shine with a little intensity and passion in life. Look, I'm not going to get deep into this, but this city feels like a city of vampires that are of a very dark soul frequency. There's a lot of them here right now. And there's something about me. I thought it was my race, but there's something about me and my soul that people don't like here. Okay? All I said was, I felt that was, and then she started to go off. And she said, "The only reason you're doing this is because you're a man." So, I've talked at great length about the nature of competition. And I've mentioned the job place, but it's on so many other levels too. And there's such great sexual tension with so many people. And what this does is cause people to not talk to each other. No longer say "excuse me" or "sorry." Just bump right. We already live in a society where when people are mugged or hurt, people just walk by the body, sometimes kick it, sometimes rob it. Where people are silent about the issues like matter, like sex trafficking, human sex trafficking, white slavery, things of that nature. These are things that a lot of women that I've met in my lifetime don't like to hear me talk about or address, especially in terms of being one of the issues that I cover on some of the shows, because it makes people feel a certain way. And sometimes it's easier to look at other issues because they're less scary. People want to believe that those things aren't happening, so they want to believe that these predators aren't out there, in particular in government, and that there's a whole other truth behind why we're at war and all these other issues. I've been scorned by a lot of society by going in these directions because it's not popular. So it's difficult to deal with that, to face that, to experience such hatred. So there's racial, then there's a man aspect of me. Oh, I'm a man. That all of a sudden makes me... because I asserted myself and said that was rude. I'm not allowed to do that in the society. I didn't go off and tell her all the different things that I feel that I've done that make me a good man. But the ego wants to do that. "Do you know I've done this? Do you know I've done that?" I just stood back and started talking, immediately turned my attention to the clerk and go, "Did you see that? That was..." And then she just said, "I'm really offended. I'm really offended." And she just marches off. So she's going to stew on that all day long, how a man said that was really rude and how you said that. All started when she goes, "Gotcha," with like an evil look, like just purely annoyed that I said a thing. What this is going to end up being in the end, what this is going to end up being in the end for so many people, is a world where we don't talk to each other. And when that happens, they win. They conquer this earth. Families already being destroyed. I'm going to get out and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to meditate for a little bit. I'm just going to walk around this city park called Peninsula Park. and think about how I'm going to spend some of my time this afternoon. One thing that I wrote on Facebook before this happened, by a minute, it's like the universe just came in to test me. By a minute, one thing that I wrote was, this city has a lot of acupuncture points to it, as does this planet. And in this greater field, well, we're affected by the field, but we have the ability, conscious awareness is knowing when that field is unhealthy, and then protecting our own field or aura and strengthening it and using it to influence the field or fractals of it, people, human beings. So we have that conscious discernment to upgrade the quality of the field. And I'm telling you, I went downtown again this weekend, and I got upset. And I'm going to be uploading a video where I'm talking to the Navy about their participation in the military-industrial complex in the security zone, where they have the machine guns, where they sit there and guard the ship as if Al-Qaeda is going to hit them with something. And I confront them on the 9/11 truth. I confront them on so many other realities, who they're really serving. The fact that all this isn't even really being done for America. It's being done for the New World Order. And they're staging the next war. People are responsible for 9/11. The real people, they're going to stage the next Third World War. People in uniform should know this. So I put myself out there. I felt a drop of energy after all this. We've just had a geomagnetic storm, a G2. So there is more solar activity at this time. I think the magnetic storm is probably dissipated, or is probably over. Or it could still be going on. Who knows if she was affected by that. But it requires a certain amount of inner strength and focus for me. I'm going to park here. I've just been driving around the block looking for a place to park. This is an opportunity that I need to use to let that go. Because all that did was verify just tenfold a lot of what I've been saying. Now, the law of attraction is real to a certain degree. And there's certain aspects of it which I don't buy into. And just because you're aware of something, you're aware of the what is or how things are, that doesn't necessarily mean you're seeing more of it. Or that you are creating those negative situations. There are other people that have seen what I've seen. And that attitude in Portland, that attitude of hatred for another person, so self-absorbed, so fearful of other people, especially men. And I think a lot of these women really have something instinctually, it may be genetic, where they're concerned. Some are attracted to me, and people have told me over my life I'm a very attractive person. That's not how everybody perceives me. Some people understand the Persian look, and it's as if they have it in their genes to destroy people from that other part of the world. I'm telling you the truth. I think that some people have that inner, and I don't know what, I'm not going to classify it as a white thing or anything else. It's a gene. There's something in the blueprint that in some people, they've got it in them to kill certain people or fear certain people. Other people may also have that blueprint, but they may have also overridden it. Their own field, their own intentions may have overridden their own biological blueprint. And I think we're here. I think one of the meanings of life is to override the biological blueprint and become a better person. I do believe this. I do believe this with all my heart. One of the main reasons we're in these human vessels is to override the biological impulses. That includes jealousy. That includes lust, left unchecked especially. That includes wild anger that turns to rage, that turns to other destructive things. This is how the dark forces, they turn people against each other. They create a certain world where there's resentment and the illusion of limited resources. And they have human beings that have wiring to have sex with each other, and they create circumstances that are very, very unsexy. And they create a world where they set people off against each other, black versus white, man versus woman, and the different programs that comes out. It's happening now. And I just got an earful from someone who believed that it was because I was a man that I had the gall to assert myself, and said, I feel that was just a little bit rude the way you said that. People don't normally communicate on a healthy level. This is going to end in people not even talking to each other. And less families. And more people living in small apartments, small homes. More people living in dense population centers. Meanwhile, more laws, Agenda 21 laws and regulations get enacted to prevent people from trying to go off the grid. What is allowed today in places like the San Luis Valley of South Central Colorado, I cannot say will be available in 10 years. That place that I want to return to, I mean, there are parts of it that are already inhabited by people, but there are other parts of it, or parts of America where there's large chunks of land that are currently residential. Well, with Agenda 21, they could say, oh, this sage is endangered. We need to protect this area. We need to protect this for the tortoises. And it may not be true. And oftentimes it's not. They want the land for something else. They already made Ute Mountain a national monument as of 2 years ago. And that's not too far. For those of you that saw my videos in Colorado, you constantly saw sometimes Ute Mountain behind me when I was filming with the South behind me. Anyways, this is Alex Ansary signing off from Peninsula Park. I'm going to rest. I'm going to think about letting that go. Her expression of the program, of the biological blueprint, to fear me, to have anger with me, to shame me, to shun me, without even knowing who I am. And confirming just this inner dark archonic self that seems to come out of these people. But sometimes when I'm around, because there's something different about me, and something that entities like that, people like that, would rather not even be in this city. Why is that? Why is that? Why have so many women, why have so many men really have taken the back seat to how women have treated me and how women have feared me? I haven't had hardly any issues with men in this town. It's constantly with people. It's the way they look at you, and it's not with a happy look, and it's very unfriendly. I'm out of here.